Hi guys, I wanted to talk to you today about G Adventures versus Intrepid. These are two of my favourite adventure travel companies, and between the two of them, I have now taken 11 trips with them. So I've got a fair bit of knowledge about what these sort of trips are about. And I wanted to help you decide which would be better for you, whether it would be G Adventures or Intrepid that you choose to travel with. So today we're going to have a little look at different aspects of both adventure group tour companies. So we'll look at the cancellation policies, the types of trips that they do, any loyalty programs, how their sort of take on sustainability, to come to a conclusion whether G Adventures or Intrepid Travel are better than each other. Okay, so if we jump in with the type of trips that they offer, so they both offer small group adventure trips with a maximum of 16 people on each trip. So they're not going to be like these massive bus loads where you're one of say 30 people. You're going to be in small groups. Most of the time I've taken trips like this, there's been maybe 10 or 12 of us. So it's really nice, intimate groups. You get to know each other really, really well. And there's definitely more of a take of adventure travel. So you're not going to be just going to all of the really obvious touristy places. You're going to go to some of the off the beaten track places as well. So I love both of these companies. I think regardless of which one you choose, you're going to have an amazing trip. But there are some differences. So firstly, with regards to the types of trips that they do, they both have a huge amount of variety. So you can take sailing trips, you can go on safari, you can take a trip that goes to predominantly cities. You can take a trip that is for younger people between 18 and say 39, or with Intrepid it's 18 to 29. You can take trips that are more focused on comfort, so you're probably going to get an older age range and you're definitely going to get nicer accommodation. There is a huge amount of variety with both trips. Now, what I would say is G Adventures focuses on slightly more variety in terms of comfort level, so you can choose whether you want to rough it or whether you want to, on a budget, or whether you want to splash out and go on a holiday where you feel like you really are on a holiday because the accommodation is amazing. So that's G Adventures. Intrepid, they do offer different comfort levels, but their main focus is on offering different types of activity trips. So you can have cycling trips, you can have hiking trips, you can have foodie breaks. There is so much variety in terms of the type of trip that you can take that there's definitely going to be something that's suitable for you. So when it comes down to price, because let's face it, that's probably going to be one of your biggest deciding factors. Both of them offer amazing value for money, and there isn't much difference in the trips. You will see sometimes G Adventures is cheaper, sometimes Intrepid is cheaper. It's worth looking at both websites before you make a decision. However, I would say in general, I've always found G Adventures to be slightly cheaper, but there is not much in it, so you should definitely look at both websites before making your decision. When it comes to departures, G Adventures does win on this one. So there are so many departures with G Adventures that it's going to be really, really flexible to work around your annual leave. Intrepid offer a lot of departures as well, but G Adventures wins on that score. Now, everybody these days are talking about sustainability for travel, and that's really important because we are now beginning to see so many problems with over-tourism. And so we want to make sure that when we go on a trip that we are impacting on the people around us in a positive way. Unfortunately, both of these companies are really, really strong on sustainability. So looking at G Adventures, they've introduced the Ripple score, which I think is really awesome. So basically the Ripple score tells you how much of the money that they're making goes back into the local community. So that means how many of the hotels you're staying in are smaller chains. They're run by people that actually live there rather than big corporations. How many restaurants are again run by locals as opposed to chain restaurants. So you're going to look for a trip that's got a higher ripple score. I have been on trips with G Adventures that have 100% ripple score, meaning 100% of the money is going back into the local community. And I love the fact that they're so transparent about it. When it comes to charities, both of them have a charity. So with G Adventures, they have Planetara, and the Planetara charity basically supports enterprises. So those enterprises are things like, say, women that want to set up a restaurant, and G Adventures will support them and give them the money to do that and help them make a sustainable career for themselves. So that is absolutely brilliant. Also, Intrepid are really, really hot on sustainability. So I'm just trying to find the name of their charity because they have one too. So just bear with me one moment. So let's have a little look here. Right. So the name of the Intrepid charity is, let's have a quick look, the Intrepid Foundation. I should have remembered that one, really. It's quite easy to remember. But basically, again, it's a charity that they support. All the money goes to the charity, so there's no admin fees or anything like that. And they also have great principles when it comes to things like looking after the environment, looking after the wildlife, protecting children. And so they were one of the first companies that banned trips to orphanages and riding elephants and all those things that maybe 10 years ago everyone was doing, not realizing how bad it was. Now we know, and Intrepid has stopped all of those things, which is fantastic. So moving on to independent travelers. So if you are an independent traveler, which means that you are somebody that wants more free time, then I would probably choose one of the Intrepid Lonely Planet trips. So they are now offering these trips that have slightly longer in each destination and slightly more free time. Now, it's important to tell you that both of these trips offer a lot of free time. Okay, so they're really, really good at getting that balance between offering activities that are already pre-booked, but also giving you the free time to explore. Now, the Lonely Planet trips are designed to give you that little bit extra time in one place with a little bit more free time, so that if you feel that you are more of an independent traveler that needs that balance, then that might be the type of trip that you should look into. In terms of loyalty programs, it's a real shame that Intrepid have recently gotten rid of one of their loyalty programs called the Legends program, where they used to give you a free trip if you'd been on 10 trips with them. Unfortunately, that is no longer. I'm interested to see if they're going to bring out anything similar or any other loyalty program or discounts off future trips. So watch the space and we'll see what happens, as I suspect that they probably will bring out something else at some stage. But for the moment, G Adventures is winning on this score. So if you fill in a feedback form after you do the trip, you will get 5% off your next trip. It's not a huge amount, but it all adds up. It makes a difference, right? When it comes to cancellations, G Adventures is winning. So if you cancel an Intrepid trip and you've already paid, you're probably going to lose that money. When it comes to G Adventures, they have a lifetime guarantee. So that what that means is that whilst you won't get the money back, that money will be stored for you so that you can use it on a trip at any point that in the future. So if, for example, you get sick and you can't go on it, you may well find that your travel insurance covers that, and I always recommend getting your travel insurance as soon as you book a trip. But if for any reason you didn't do that, you're not going to lose out on all that money. You're just going to put everything on hold a little bit. So those are the main differences between G Adventures and Intrepid. Like I said, regardless of which trip you go for, you are going to have an amazing time. I have been on 11 of these trips. I've been on sailing trips, I've been on safaris, I've been on land-based trips, I've been on multi-country trips. I have done so many trips with these companies, and I absolutely have loved every single one of them. I've made friends for life. I've had some incredible experiences that I probably wouldn't have had if I'd organised it myself. And I'm not saying that I don't do solo travel. I do. I love solo travel. But sometimes it's just nice to have that trip organised for you. You can completely switch off. You don't have to worry about bus times and train times and, getting yourself from A to B. It's all done for you. You can just focus on having fun, experiencing the country and making some new friends. So, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And, hopefully you're going to have the most amazing trip. I will put the links beneath the video. So if you decide to book a trip, then I'd appreciate if you could book through that link because I do earn a slight commission on that. However, I would be recommending these trips to you regardless of whether I earn a commission. I've got the opportunity to promote other trips, but I choose these two because these two companies are brilliant. You're going to have an amazing time. I really hope you have just the most incredible trip that you remember forever.